Pokemon Legends ZA is a dual release, meaning it's on the Switch 1 and the Switch 2, and the Switch 2 is coming out very soon. And now, consoles typically have a shelf life of about 7 to 8 years, which means that the Switch 2 is going to be Nintendo's main console until maybe the year 2032 or something around there, maybe give or take a couple of years, which also kind of means that there could potentially be 2 more Legends games on the Switch 2 during its lifespan, because as Pokemon Legends ZA is coming out like basically when the Switch 2 comes out. The Switch 2 is coming out in June, and Legends ZA is probably coming out like September or October or something like that, which, you know, that's pretty close to each other, which I really do think we're probably going to get about 2 more Pokemon Legends games on the Switch 2 before the Switch 2 is finished, before we move on to, I don't know, the Switch 3 or something. And now that's if they keep up with their current, schedule. It's been already a couple of years since we've had a Legends game, which is insane. Pokemon Legends Arceus being the first ever introduction to the Legends series, and just because we're getting Legends ZA, I think that means that the Legends series is here to stay. The Legends games are mainline Pokemon games. They're not spin-off games. The Legends series and Legends kind of idea is the coolest thing, especially since we get to go back to different regions and stuff that we have been to in the past. So it's like really cool. We get like new storylines within current existing regions in the past, present, or the future, which is so awesome. And going on with that time travel stuff, I think Pokemon Legends Celebi is probably going to be the next game. I mean, it may not be called Legends Celebi, but some sort of Johto Legends game. I really do think that a Johto region Legends game is going to be the next Legends game. I just think it makes sense. We haven't gone back to Generation 2 in the longest time compared to any other Pokemon generation or Pokemon game. I think that the Johto region has so much lore. We have the 3 beasts. Like, we just have so many cool things within the Johto region, and that's why I really think it's like the perfect generation / region to go back to, especially if it's based around Celebi and like time travel. So Legends Arceus took place in the past. It's not like super far back in the past, but it is the past. I think it's like 200 or so years before the events of the Gen 4 games or Diamond and Pearl. And then this game, Pokemon Legends ZA, is pretty much like a modern day Pokemon game. It's taking place about 12 to like 15 years after the events of Pokemon X and Y. So it's still like a pretty modern-ish game, which leaves us the option to have a future game, or we could have a game where we literally time travel in it. We go in the past, present, and the future. Like, imagine the game starts in the future and works its way back to the past to like clear out some sort of, I guess, doomsday plot or plan that started in the past that kind of works its way to the events of the very start of the game, where that's what we have to kind of stop, if that makes sense. Like, we have to go back in time to stop the events of where the game starts, and then eventually at the end of the game we go back to the future and everything is fine. I think something like that would be so awesome. Celebi is the time travel Pokemon, which is perfect for exploring the past and the future. Like, it would just be the coolest thing ever. And why I think this is a cool idea is because the Switch 2 is obviously better than the Switch, because it's more updated, just more modern hardware, which means they have room for bigger and better games, which kind of entails that they could make a game like this if they wanted to. Now, we all know how Game Freak are. Sometimes they are not the most, I guess, the best company for something like this, but I do think this would be absolutely amazing. Like, imagine we get to see the original tragedy of the tower with the birth of Entei, Suicune, and Raikou. Like, that would be something so awesome. Obviously, we have to have some sort of stuff with Ho-Oh and Lugia and stuff like that. This is probably one of my, if not my top requests for a Pokemon Legends game. And before we get to the rest of the video, I noticed that most of you guys that are watching the channel aren't actually subscribed, so if you could do me a huge favor and drop a sub and a like to help me reach my goal of 20,000 subscribers before the end of this year. Any support goes such a long way. Make sure to check out my second channel, Fedora's Clips. I'm almost at 200 subs on that channel, which is awesome. Link is in the description below, as well as my Discord server. Make sure to go check it out. We got some super cool people up in there. You get some like behind the scenes stuff, some just cool, really cool people to meet up in there. And shout out to the member of the week, Darius Martin. Thank you so much for your support on the channel. All right, back to the rest of the video. And moving on, I think a Legends Mew actually does have a pretty high chance of being a Legends game. At first, like, actually, up until this point, like up until my research for this video, I'm like, you know what? I don't really see a Legends Kanto ever happening. But the more I think about it, I'm like, actually, it would make sense. So first of all, I mean, Mew is just the GOAT, right? Like, Mew is awesome. back in the Generation 1 era, like when those games actually first came out, like Mew was such a mystery. It was so cool. I wasn't born yet, so I couldn't live it, but I've seen so many videos and stuff about it. It was definitely a crazy time. Comment down below if you lived during this time when Mew was like kind of going around and Pokemon was brand new. But anyways, we know that Game Freak loves Generation 1. They favor Kanto region a lot. Is not necessarily a bad thing. So I don't want to get like Gen 1 remakes again. Like I don't want like Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee 2 or something to come on the Switch, which obviously that's a joke. That wouldn't actually happen. But I really do think that if Game Freak wants us to play Gen 1 again or wants to go back to Gen 1, the way to do it is with a Legends game. We have all played the Gen 1 games, right? Like I've probably played Gen 1 more than any other generation out there. Even though it's not my favorite generation, it's just like the classic region, the classic generation. Like there's nothing wrong with those games. They're awesome. The 151 Pokemon are just so cool. But I think it would be so cool to see like maybe the early days of Kanto region, especially just heavy lore around Mew. It would be really cool to go explore the Kanto region in more of like an open world kind of sense. It would even be cool to see this game in like a modern era, like a modern day Kanto region. I'd be down with that, like with technology and stuff, because obviously Legends Z has a lot of technology within it. So I'd like to see how the Kanto region is doing right now with all the technology and stuff. And I would just absolutely love it. And especially over a remake. Like I do want the classic like Pokemon games to come on the Switch in one way or another, like Gen 1 through 3 or even 4 would be super cool, but more so as like the actual games kind of just like remastered, not like an updated version like Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee were. I just think it'd be super cool to see like the early Pokemon discovery, especially this is like the first generation, so we could see a lot of stuff about, I don't know, like Team Rocket or some of the prehistoric Pokemon or fossil Pokemon could even play a bigger role here, because the fossil Pokemon, man, people love the fossil Pokemon. So many people love fossil Pokemon. I swear I've started to like the fossil Pokemon even more, which is so cool. And we're even getting new Gen 1 Mega Evolutions in Legends Z. So like, dude, like Game Freak, they love the Kanto region. And if Legends Mew does become a game, dude, I swear they would literally just give us the Gen 1 starters as the game starters. You know what I mean? Like with Legends Z, it's taking place in the Kalos region, but we don't have the Kalos starters as our starters. Apparently, we're still going to be able to pick those starter Pokemon somewhere else, or maybe in the wild or something like that. But dude, I swear Legends Mew would actually be awesome. Okay, moving on to one that I 100% would absolutely love to have is Legends Kyurem. This was the game that I was expecting for the Pokemon Day Pokemon Presents in 2024. I was convinced we were getting a Legends Kyurem or a Legends Unova, some sort of Generation 5 game. I would love to see a Legends game based in the Unova region, all about the original dragon, where it splits up into Zekrom, Reshiram, and Kyurem. It'd be so cool if we could explore the war, you know, the two brothers, how I guess Kyurem became kind of like the loner, I guess you could say. You know, Black and White is full of just like tension. Those games are awesome. I think they're kind of the darkest Pokemon games we have, and they're super real too. Like they feel real, like the stakes in those games feel high. And I'm almost done with Black and White 2 right now for the first time, which is so awesome. Dude, they are so expensive. That's why I never played them, is because they were always so expensive. And when they actually came out, that was like my downtime of Pokemon. That was when I wasn't really like within the Pokemon, I guess, realm anymore. And I know a lot of people agree. I know a lot of people want a Legends Unova or Kyurem, whatever. I think that the lore around the Unova region is so awesome. And even though I do want to see this on the Switch too, I feel like this is probably the least likely one to happen. And the only reason I'm saying that is because we're probably going to get the Generation 5 remakes pretty soon here on the Switch too. My guess is maybe like 2027, could be 2028. But because of that reason, I feel like the Legends Unova / Kyurem game may be on the next console, but I figured I'd bring it up because I would absolutely love it. And if in the small chance they decided to not give us Gen 5 remakes and give us a Legends game, I just wanted to bring it up. I don't think that's going to happen because, you know, they're still going to do remakes, obviously. Like, remakes are still going to happen, but I just figured I'd throw it out there. One that would be super cool as well is a Alola region Pokemon Legends game, and I feel like this one is possible. Especially since the Generation 7 remakes are still a long time away. Like, it's not going to happen anytime soon where we're going to get the Gen 7 remakes. And obviously, you know, Necrozma is from Sun and Moon, which is Gen 7. I think Necrozma would be super awesome. And I think this Legends game would be really cool. Like, the history of Necrozma as the blinding one and, like, Ultra Space stuff would be absolutely absurd. Like, all the Ultra Beast. I would love to see that. Like, these games actually have so much lore behind it. Like, it's kind of insane. Like, we have all the Tapu Guardians and stuff like that. Just all of the Ultra Beast Pokemon, like, going through different wormholes in the different universes and stuff. I think that would be one amazing Pokemon game on the Switch 2. And now I feel like it would probably make more sense for this game to be in the past, before Sun and Moon, probably like thousands of years in the past. I think it would be super, super cool to see, especially if it like heavily involves like all the Ultra Beasts and stuff, because of the fact that it's like, these would be different, I guess, like universes or realms or whatever you want to call it. It would make, like, whatever they do would make sense, you know what I mean? Because we don't live in those different dimensions or whatever. So anything that's going on in those areas, like thousands of years ago, would technically make sense, which is so awesome. Especially since, like, in an open world game, imagine a Pokemon Legends Necrozma or Generation 7 game where, yeah, we like start off in the Alola region, and then we eventually are like in space, you know, with the Ultra Beast and stuff like that, and Ultra Space. Like, dude, I just think this would be like a crazy Pokemon game. And what's cool is, like, Pokemon and Game Freak, we know they've been pretty experimental the last couple of years. Like, think about every single Pokemon game on the Switch has been so different than the last one, right? Legends CA is the first time we're ever just only specifically in the cities where this game is taking place. And I think it would be cool if they even branched out more and put us in space. I know it sounds crazy, but if they did it correctly, this could be a crazy Pokemon game and be a redemption game for the original Sun and Moon games. Sun and Moon weren't really received all that well. I mean, the Ultra Sun and Moon games were definitely received better. People say those games are a lot better than regular Sun and Moon, which I haven't actually played Ultra Sun and Moon. Once again, I just wasn't into Pokemon at this time. I got back into Pokemon right after those games, but I would just love to see an Alola region Legends game, or even just a Pokemon Legends game that like literally only takes place in the Alola region. It doesn't even like talk about the Ultra Beast, and then maybe a separate Pokemon game all about the Ultra Beast. And maybe a future Pokemon Legends game, like a Legends game that takes place in the future, is where it would make sense to technically see all the Ultra Beast again, because technology on Earth would be way better than we could go up into space and explore, you know, all the Ultra Beasts and stuff like that, which, I don't know, I just think that'd be really, really cool. Something else that I could also see us having is a Generation 3 Legends game, simply because of the fact that, you know, we had the Generation 3 remakes about 10 or 11 years ago at this point. Like, it's been a long time, which means it's been enough time to where we could go back to the Hoenn region, and it would make sense because I don't think there's any other Generation 3 games at all in, you know, planned for the near future, which would be really cool. And I think it'd be awesome to see some sort of Rayquaza game, maybe like seeing Rayquaza stop the war between Kyogre and Groudon. And the reason why I'm like kind of coming up with these crazy concepts for these Legends games is because the Switch 2 is better hardware, has better graphics and animations, or at least it should. So that means like they could pull this off. Pokemon is the biggest franchise on the planet, which means they could put the money and the time to make a game that's big. Like, I would absolutely love big Pokemon games like this, where it's like, what the heck? Because Pokemon games in the last couple of years haven't been like, I don't know, they've been so controversial. They've still been fun, like very, very fun games, but I could just imagine the Switch 2 is going to be a whole new era of really amazing Pokemon games. And I feel like we should have standards for Pokemon games, you know what I mean? We know what we can have. I'm not really talking trash about the recent Pokemon games. Like, I loved Scarlet and Violet, even though they did have their issues. I still loved the games. We should have standards where we can come up with crazy concepts for games like this and actually kind of expect it to happen, or at least really hope for it to happen. You know, obviously a Legends like Giratina would be cool, but we already went back to the Sinnoh region, so I don't think we're gonna ever go back to the Sinnoh region for another Legends game. It would be cool to see a Generation 8 game with, you know, Galar's Darkest Day. That has some potential right there. Maybe a Legends Johto game based around Lugia and Ho-Oh would be really, really cool. I mean, there are just so many different mythological backstories and origins and just so many cool, unique things that we could actually have for future Pokemon games. Like, I could not wait to see what the Switch 2 lineup of Pokemon games is really gonna be. Like, we're gonna have Generation 10 probably next year for 2026. I don't expect us to know what those games are probably until next Pokemon Day, which is going to be February 2026. I mean, just going on with that stuff though, it's like we're going to get Pokemon Presents in August is typically when there is one, so we'll probably get some more stuff about Legends ZA. Maybe they're going to drop some, like, the Classic Collection where like Gen 1 through 3 is going to be on the Switch 2. I mean, I really would hope so, but you know, I made a video talking about all of the Switch Pokemon games that I think we're gonna see, like kind of just all like, you know, new generations. Like we could see a couple of brand new gens on this console, and I think it's a lot to kind of expect and kind of a lot to, I guess, predict, because, you know, we're gonna have the Switch 2, like I said, for about probably 8 years, give or take a couple of years, and then we're gonna move on to the next Nintendo console, which I don't even know what the heck that could be. But let me know your thoughts about this. What is a Pokemon Legends game that you would love to see? Let me know in the comments down below, like, just your favorite idea of a new Pokemon Legends game that you would love to see on the Switch 2. And if you are a real one watching this far in the video, comment down below Granola, just to confuse people that aren't watching this far in the video. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I tried to make a little bit of a longer video today. I kind of want to make some longer videos. It's kind of fun. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, turn on the post notifications so you don't miss another upload, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.